Hello everyone and welcome to episode 11 of my World of Warcraft Let's Play. Today is a very exciting episode because we are going to be going into Deadmines and we are going to fight the Defias Brotherhood that are hanging out here, and we are going to work our way to Edwin Van Cleef, and we are going to take care of this threat and bring Edwin Van Cleef to justice. So I have a full group of 5 people with 1 tank, 1 healer, and 3 DPS. And we are going to have a lot of fun exploring this dungeon and seeing everything there is to do. This is the first dungeon we are going to be doing in this series, and it's going to be only one of the few dungeons that we end up doing in the entirety of the series. So it is a very special occasion for us. So we are just going to kind of hang out here, and we are going to have everyone come over here. So this is our first big example of group content in World of Warcraft, where I am currently working with 4 other people, and we are going to be working together to deal with this threat. And I'm just going to fast notice so our warrior there could run away. And we are just waiting for 2 people, I believe, to get here. And once they are, we can go ahead and start. So I just went ahead and did a mechanic called share quest, where anyone that I'm nearby, I can share a quest with them and then they can pick it up without having to go all the way to the NPC that gives the quest. Here is a really cool part of the world. It is a meeting stone, so this is kind of a marker telling us that there is a dungeon nearby, the dungeon being the Deadmines, and the recommended level here is level 17 to 26 in order to do the Deadmines.
I need to get closer.
And we are kind of just out here in Moonbrook, and we are just dealing with some of the Defias that are out here. So what I did just there is I opened a trade window with this player, and then I gave them some of my conjured water so that they have water to drink while we are doing the dungeon. So that's very nice of me to do, and it's very helpful for other players to just have some water so they don't end up having to buy it all. Then all of our players are almost here, and once we are all here, we can go ahead and get started with this dungeon. This dungeon is really interesting at the beginning because there is an elite area at the start that we are going to have to clear through in order to get to the dungeon entrance. And I have 5 quests here, so we are going to do our best to clear all 5 of these quests. And we just entered the Deadmines Defias hideout, which is the opening part of this dungeon. So in every group we have a tank, a healer, and 3 DPS. So I am one of the DPS because I am a mage. I cannot tank or heal. I can only do damage. So we have a druid here that is druid tanking, and then we have a priest that is healing. So we should be pretty good here. Our healer and our tank are very high level, so it shouldn't be too much of a threat, and we should be able to just kind of deal some damage to all of these henchmen. So we saw there, this Defiance henchman has this very cool icon around it. I'm not sure what the technical name for that is. I think it's elite enemy or something, but it basically just means it is a very strong enemy, kind of designed for 5 players. So we are definitely in a challenging area, but fortunately we have 4 friends by our side we can clear this area out with. So in World of Warcraft Classic, mobs will only drop loot for 1 player instead of for 5 players. So all these mobs have the chance to drop a red silk bandana, but only 1 person is able to pick up those bandanas. And we are in a group of 5 people, and we all have the quest here. So we're going to need to get 50 red silk bandanas throughout this dungeon, which should be pretty easy to do. But we'll just have to get a ton of them instead of just getting 10. We kind of have to share the loot here, which is a-okay. Go ahead and try to get some water up before we get into too much of a situation. I don't have a wand, which is a little unfortunate for me. A wand would be very beneficial in this dungeon to kind of be able to help out a little bit, but you know, we'll be fine. Tank's pulling a lot of diggers here. They are very easy enemies, and we should be able to just fight them really easily. That digger's dead, and I got a bandana from it, which is nice. And that digger is now dead as well, and has bracers. So with groups, like group loot is shared. So with loot that is like very high level, basically green, and then also even higher than that, we have a roll system. So next time we get a piece of loot, I'll stay on the screen for a minute longer. But basically, we roll, each player rolls 1 to 100, and whoever has the highest number gets the item. And you can greed or need, so if someone decides to need, it will prioritize those players that need, and then the person that greeds like won't be included in that. But if everyone greeds and no one needs, and then the people that greeded will all fight each other, I guess, in order to get that piece of item. I made a mistake here and I kind of attacked this henchman a lot, and it's kind of taunted on me, but we seem to be doing okay here. We have a pretty good group that I can tell so far. I don't play much group content. I don't do too many dungeons. I'm not super interested in them, but I do enjoy them when I do them. But so I don't know, like really, I'm not like really good at it, I guess. I'm not like professional, I don't have much experience, and I always feel a little bit of anxiety with doing group content. I did a full video about anxiety in Guild Wars 2, and I kind of feel a little bit of that right now while I'm in this group. I really hope I don't mess something up and kind of make everyone here hate me and kick me out of the group. And I got another bandana there, and here is the loot, so I can need, greed, or I can pass. So I'm just going to click greed. Here is a digger, I just fire blast. And here we go. Another group going in. I'm really excited to be here. I really enjoy the Deadmines. It is the first dungeon that Alliance players can do, but it's technically the second dungeon in the game. Horde have the opportunity to do a dungeon that is even earlier level than this. So this is like around level 19-ish. The Horde have a dungeon at like level 16-ish. Which is really cool and a really interesting dungeon as well. But Deadmines, in my opinion, much cooler than that one. And it's the Alliance's first opportunity to do some dungeon content. I believe on average dungeons tend to last about an hour, depending on the dungeon. Deadmines is definitely in that range of like 1 hour, so it should be about the perfect amount of time for an episode, because I'll probably definitely cut down a little bit. I'll probably spend some time where we're killing trash mobs, and I'll just kind of cut that out a little bit. But here we are kind of coming up to the first area that has quests in the opening area here of Deadmines. And I'm just going to run along with them, and we have a lot of undead here, and this quest we might not be able to complete because we have a ton of players here, but we'll try our best to kind of get it going. We need to get 20 different minor union cards from all these undead here. We see there's like a bunch of undead here in this opening area, and this tank is pulling a lot of them right now. Hopefully we're able to deal with this. Hopefully it's not too much. And I just pulled this dynamiter on me, which is not good. Panicking a little bit. This dynamiter. I probably should have gotten Arcane Blast from the trainer. That would definitely be a little beneficial here. But it seems like we're handling the situation pretty well right now. But it is definitely a little bit on the intense side. Hopefully we don't die here. I did run out of mana, and our healer is out of mana right now, so hopefully our druid and our warrior here are kind of able to handle this situation pretty well. And we got a cold iron pick. I'm just going to go ahead and read on that. And we almost killed them all. Let's go ahead and get this going. The druid can heal themselves, I believe. And, oh, unfortunately the tank died there. We definitely did pull a lot of stuff there. So let's go ahead, and I got one card. And let's go ahead and drink up a little bit. So there's like a little bit of drama going on in this group already. So we had like a very strong start, and then with the tank dying, there's a little bit of like conversation, I guess you could say, going on. So that's a little bit unfortunate there. So hopefully this group doesn't fall apart and I can continue doing this dungeon. But let us go ahead and just keep fighting these undead. So I have the ability now. I went to the trainer in between episodes so I could learn real quick to remove lesser curse. So I just removed a curse from this druid here. So it's able to help out my group a little bit there. Okay, so here we are at the end of this little area here of all this undead, and we have 4-man Thistle Nettle, which is kind of like the boss of this area, and we have a quest here, and it's a very like tragic story. I think it's, I believe, like the individual's brother that we picked the quest up from. So we're just gonna deal with it, and we'll probably finish that quest, but we probably won't be able to finish the what's it called, collecting memories quest, because we have so many people here. Which is okay, it's only one quest. So unfortunately we have to find another healer, because the healer we had was not a great individual, so he left us out in the middle of this one because he was being toxic to everyone, which is an unfortunate reality of dungeons in World of Warcraft because of like how people are. So let's go ahead and try to find another healer and we can continue on with the dungeon. So this might not be a good situation we're in right now. We're kind of just trying to stay alive here while we deal with all of these undead and try to get a healer in here. But unfortunately they all respawned on us, so now we're kind of in a not good situation. So we might end up wiping here, unfortunately. But we can just run back and we can restart doing things. So, but we might be able to survive through this actually. I noticed I got my last minor unions card, so a good advantage of the situation that we are in right now is that we finished this quest because we stayed here killing a bunch of undead. So that's good. And we can just continue doing stuff here for other people and we can move on into the dungeon proper. And I died there, and I think the entire group is about to die, which is okay. So here we are. A lot of time has passed, but edited down in the video, it should not be too much of time from like the start of the episode to right now. Hopefully not anyways. But we have now kind of reformed the group, and we have a new group of people that hopefully are less toxic and less dumb. So we can push forward into Deadmines once our 5th person arrives, and we can continue our adventures here. This is actually kind of good because it kind of showcases the reason why I'm not a big fan of doing dungeons and MMOs anymore, or at least in like World of Warcraft, because of like how the community can be at times, where you can get a couple of really bad eggs in your group and it ends up not being good at all. So from our original group, it is just me and one person left here, and we can now go ahead and go forward. So we are all here now, so let us hope this group does not crumble apart from the toxicity of the last group, and let's push forward, and hopefully this time we'll be able to clear the opening area pretty fast and we can get straight into the dungeon. So we're going to go and head back over to the undead area so we can help out the new people that joined. Even though I finished the quests, I am still here to help everyone out. And we can push down here, get those, and then come out and head over to the dungeon proper. So I just noticed something very embarrassing, and I don't know how long this has been the case. I don't know how far into the series I've gone without noticing, but I had Frostbolt rank 2 on my skill bar when I have Frostbolt rank 3 unlocked. I just noticed I was dealing like not a lot of damage, and like now I should be doing a little bit more damage. So that was pretty embarrassing there. But we got it going now. And we just cleared out this area, which was significantly easier than before, now that we have a better group going in here. So we will just finish clearing this up, and then we get to head into the dungeon after this group and after a few more groups on the way over. So I'm doing pretty good on my Red Silk Bandanas quest. Even if we were at like 0 out of 50 for the group, we definitely completed all, but it just makes me feel more safe and secure knowing that I have like the quest completed. I'm 7 out of 10. I should surely get it by the end of this dungeon. So I will have that quest completed, and we finish off the undead quests here, so that is good. So the only quests we have left are from a couple of the bosses inside of the Deadmines, which are guaranteed drops for everyone, so it'll be pretty easy to complete those, so I have nothing to worry about there. This is a really cool model here. The Defias Watchman is very unique compared to like a lot of other human models, and I quite like it a lot because it's just different. It's kind of like how the workers have different models than like normal humans. They're based more around like their Warcraft 3 human model, which is really cool. The Watchman is also very unique, and I just love like the kind of variety and model that exists, because there's a ton of like the normal humans here, but then there's a few extra special ones that kind of just improve and enhance the experience of the dungeon a good amount. And I just got 2 bandanas there. It looks like not everyone in our group is working on that quest, so that speeds it up even more. So I am just 1 away from completing it. Maybe this worker has one. Nope, wool cloth. Still good. I should get quite a bit of wool. I just realized my pants are broken. That's not good. Hopefully I get pants as a drop in the dungeon. Oh, I have these, which actually might... they're not good, but I might go ahead and equip them anyways, just so I'm wearing some pants. No one can tell though, because I'm wearing robes, so don't tell anyone in my group. And we are getting really close to the entrance of the dungeon, so that is super exciting. And let's go ahead, clear out this group. We have a magician and a watchman here, and a worker, but the worker's pretty easy to deal with. And we can go ahead and finish up this group. They spawned a living flame, that's a little concerning, but should be able to die pretty fast. And it just died with them. And I'm already getting quite a bit of experience, almost like a third of a level that I've got in this episode. I think I started off with like a bar in already, and then I'm getting a good amount of loot and a good amount of gold as well, and then I'll be able to sell the loot for extra gold, so I will be having a very good time once we are out of this dungeon. I'm going to try to drink a little bit before they jump in. Just get one more pulse off, and I'll jump in after them. And we can go ahead and just run straight through the dungeon portal. That looks like what we're kind of doing right here. And once we run in, all these people will despawn because we will be in a new instance. Here's the loading screen for Deadmines, and we are now officially inside our first ever dungeon. 70 minutes into recording this episode, and we have finally made it here. So here we are, and we can begin our adventures in the Deadmines proper. So we're just gonna drink, heal a little bit. Everyone's buffing everyone up, so I can go ahead and double check that everyone has arcane intellect. Looks like our healer doesn't, or it's our bonus DPS there, does not. So here we go, fighting the first mobs in this dungeon, and it should be a pretty good time. And we got some Defias just everywhere. You can see the area we've been in, so we came in through like a barn, and we were instantly into mines, and we were continuing through some mines here. And there's just a bunch of Defias miners everywhere, and we have like some Defias overseers that are kind of like working here, directing the miners, and they're just gathering a ton of resources. So hopefully as we progress through the dungeon, we will figure out kind of what they are building research or gathering resources for. And I just got my last Red Silk Bandana, so I have completed that quest, and the only quests I have left now in Deadmines are boss kills, and we will kill hopefully every single boss in this dungeon, so that is pretty guaranteed. And we got a big group of enemies right here, but we should be able to deal with them. Though I am dealing a ton of damage to this overseer, so it's kind of just attacking me now, but that's okay. I should be fine. I should die before it's any threat to me. And I'm a little concerned because I'm low on mana, and I'm kind of being not a good group player here because I just pulled the aggro, but that's okay. Everything else is almost dead. This overseer has a little bit of health left on it. but that is okay. So I'm not sure if in the classic version of World of Warcraft if mobs respawn behind you. I believe in modern versions they do not, but they might in old versions, but they might not. I'm not entirely sure. So if we ever come back through here, we might need to be a little bit careful of mobs respawning. I think they don't, so that might just be a figment of my imagination. But as we clear through here, we're just going to clear a bunch of mobs, and we're going to enter several different areas. I don't think we can, yeah, there's no map, but we can kind of see on the mini map we have like this blackish bluish like rocks here, and we're going to head over towards what looks like red rocks over there. Red Ridge? Not sure. Well, I should go ahead and equip these pants, and yeah, I'll just hold on to those for now, and let's go ahead and fight this overseer. And we can see there's like some machinery there or something, and tons of just mining equipment, cannonballs over there, and a little interesting. And we can just see there's just a ton of resources everywhere, and we're already at halfway to level 19. We just hit 50% with that mob killed. But as we progress through each area and we kill several different mobs, we are going to get to bosses within different areas. So we are kind of coming up towards our first boss in a little bit, and we'll be able to check him out and kind of see what he's all about. With how mechanics work in the original versions of World of Warcraft, there aren't too many mechanics for individual bosses. It kind of just like the game kind of revolves around like stats and kind of being able to do things properly with like pulling and like threat and healing and all that stuff. And there's not too much going on that like each individual has to be like very careful about like specific mechanics for each specific boss. That's more of a thing that's more modern. It doesn't exist too much back in the day. However, there are still some mechanics that are super important for different bosses in different dungeons, and if we see some special mechanics, I'll go ahead and point them out as we fight each one. But I think this is the last group we need to beat before we get to the first boss, which is in this next room over here, the red area that we kind of saw. So after this miner dies, I'm going to try to drink up a little bit, and we can see there's someone whose name is Rhahk'Zor, I believe. He's called the Foreman. So this is the first boss, and he has 2 watchmen by his side. So we are going to deal with them.
Van Cleef pay big for your head.
So here we go, fighting this mob here, and we are just going to fight Rhahk'Zor. He has a ton of health, and he kind of came attacking me, so I just dropped attacking him for a moment. Let's go ahead and fight this watchman actually. And Rhahk'Zor said, Van Cleef pay big for your heads. And we got rid of this first watchman, so let's continue attacking Rhahk'Zor here. And so I think I was confused there because I believe whenever a tank targets someone with a moon icon, I'm supposed to shoot. And I guess Purple Diamond is Warlock Fear. So I'm a little, as I said, a little new to kind of like in-game content in games. So you kind of have to figure everything out. So this boss is really tanky and has a lot of health, and also has like 2 adds with him. So there's kind of a lot of damage that we need to be done, and I'm kind of suffering on mana here. So I'm just going to try to cast some crossbows on this watchman so we can deal with the watchman right away, and then we can finish dealing with Rhahk'Zor, the boss here. And then this will be our first boss defeated. So almost dead here. And I'll just cast a fireball, and we can just finish him off very soon, very soon, very soon. And we finished him off. Very nice. So I guess he doesn't have loot. That's weird. I think he's supposed to drop a little bit of loot, but he had nothing on him, which is interesting. So I'm just going to take a moment to drink up, restore my mana a little bit, and then we can head into the next part of the dungeon that our tank has already gone down. Rhahk'Zor's hammer. So he just dropped a very basic hammer, and because it's white, we don't get to like roll for it at all, which is okay. have this miner here, and let's try to target the overseer. Looks like we're targeting here, and you can just go ahead, fight this overseer, and then continue forwards into the dungeon. So there's a group coming up behind us that I take notice and ran off, and we are fighting now, so we can go ahead and deal with this group of enemies. And that evoker died very quickly, and then we can deal with this overseer equally as quickly. Maybe a little bit more health. I think the overseers are a bit more tanky than the evokers. And it is dead, and we just had someone level up. That's awesome. So we just head through this little gate that opened up after we fought Rhahk'Zor, and you can see now that there is more mines after this gate, and there continues to be more miners here doing more and more stuff. We are in the Deadmines, so this is going to be true for much of the dungeon. We're just going to see many areas that are very similar to this, with a little bit of different variety here and there. So I'm going to attack this evoker, and then there's a few miners here. Not sure if I'm supposed to fight them. Oh no. I'm going to go ahead and just switch over to fighting this miner, and then we can fight this miner as well. I think I'm standing in the bad area, so I'll go ahead and pop off that. And then we can deal with this last miner, and then we'll transition back over to the evoker. It was immune to my attack. That's unfortunate. And resisted my other one. That's also unfortunate. Let's go ahead. I'm going to be really quick here every time to drink some water, because I am really running low on mana throughout every fight, and I hope people don't get upset at me for that. So I'll just keep drinking water and keep restoring mana as we go through here. So I think we are already at the next area for the next boss. We have this heavy door here, and we are able to fight the next one, which should be less tanky than the previous one. So we will see what is going on in here. So as we open this door, we see there are some goblins in here. There are goblin wood carvers, and we are targeting one of them right here, coming through here. So, and you can see there are like some logs in there. So there are goblins in here that are working on turning those logs into planks of wood for something. So we have a bunch of miners out here in the mines that are working on like gathering ore, and they're probably like smelting it down somewhere. And then we have these wood carvers here that are harvesting and carving this wood. And we see over there Sneed's shredder, and inside we can see there is Sneed, I would presume, and he is the lumber master. So this boss is someone who's in charge of kind of harvesting lumber here for whatever the Defias seems to be doing. So I'm running low on mana here. Go ahead and attack this wood carver just with my staff there. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my bag of marbles on that enemy. I'm going to transition to this wood carver. That was the last part of my bag of marbles that I had. And I'll go ahead and attack this wood carver, cast some frostbolts on them. And then I have enough mana for a few frostbolts here. So I can cast that, and now I just have to smack him with my staff a little bit. That sounds a little weird. I can kill this one and then transition to this last wood carver, let my mana restore for a moment, and then I can cast a couple of frostbolts. This way I critical hit for 116, which is like twice as much damage than with my original version of frostbolt. So I'm going to take this moment to restore mana. I'm probably just going to let them fight for a little bit while I restore mana, because I think it's probably more useful like against this this mob right here, if I can just take this moment to drink while everyone else kind of fights, and then I can join in afterwards. Or maybe I'm just being a little bit of a freeloader here and we are going to get kicked. I don't know. So this wood carver is almost dead, and we're backing up a little bit here so we don't go aggro. And let's attack this next wood carver. I am gaining quite a bit of experience. I'm almost at 60%. I was just at 50%. So running dungeons is a really nice way to level up because you can gain a ton of experience, and you can also get some really nice items that will help you out in your future adventures. And then there are a ton of quests you can do exclusively in dungeons that reward really good items and also quite a bit of experience itself. So we are definitely going to be turning in all these quests after we finish this dungeon, and we will level up even more and get even more good stuff. I believe there's like 6 or 7 bosses in Deadmines, so with killing this boss, we'll probably be like a third of the way through the dungeon, which is really cool. I think it's 6. I'm counting, and I'm counting 6 in my head. I might be missing one. We'll see, but let's restore some mana real quick. It looks like there's like one goblin over there, but we probably won't pull it. But we have the Sneed shredder here that we can go ahead and fight. Here we go, fighting Sneed Shredder, the Lumber Master. I'm very focused here, and we're just going to cast a ton of Frostbolts. I think we can cast like 3 more before I run out of mana, which is a little embarrassing. I didn't restore my mana all the way up, and the Shredder is at 50% health. I think Sneed jumps out afterwards, but it's like super easy to fight. Not entirely sure. We'll see what happens, and I'm just going to use my staff here and just attack it a little bit. So I'm restoring my mana a little bit, a couple more seconds, and I'll have 100 mana, so I'll cast a couple of Frostbolts. Of course, he resisted one of them. And then Sneed Shredder is about to die, and Sneed does not jump out, but falls out, and then the Shredder... Oh! Sneed's there. That's awkward. Sneed's here, and let's go ahead and fight him. Looks like he escaped from underneath the Shredder. So we can go ahead and take care of Sneed. And this is one of the bosses we needed for a quest. So we only have one more quest left to complete in here, but there's also a quest that we pick up, but it is near the end of the dungeon. So let's go ahead and fight Sneed, and almost dead. And Sneed is probably going to have some good loot for us, which is super cool. So these are really good gloves, and I'm going to go ahead and just greed on them because we do have a few different magic users here, and if they would like it, I would prefer to go ahead and give it to them, but I ended up winning them. So let's go ahead and equip them, and we now have very good gloves. And I'm just going to take this moment to kind of restore my mana a little bit, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just start off by deleting these 2 stacks of conjured bread that I have here, and if I end up needing more, I can just go ahead and conjure more. But that is the second boss defeated, and we can continue onwards into the dungeon. We have a strip miner here now, so we can go ahead and take care of all of these. We have a taskmaster over here, so I think these are a couple of new mobs that we have not fought yet in this dungeon, so we're kind of progressing to higher level areas in the dungeon. Dungeons have kind of like level ranges, and it's a little interesting where like at the beginning of the dungeon the mobs are like on the lower end of the level range, but near the end of the dungeon and like the final boss especially, the dungeons tend to be, or the mobs tend to be very high level and very challenging. So if you're coming into a dungeon and you're like doing fine around the mobs in the beginning, you need to be careful about what level of mobs are going to be near the end of the dungeon, because it might be too challenging for your group. So I think like the final boss in the dungeon is like level 22 and I'm level 18, but that is only the final. Oh, there's a group behind this. Okay, so this is a little bit of a challenging encounter. I'm going to go ahead and try to kill these strip miners here. And I am running a little low on mana, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that strip miner off. I'm going to target this other strip miner, cast a frostbolt on it, and I'm kind of running out of mana here. So I can go ahead and just finish that one off, and then see the Evoker seems to be who we're fighting next. We only have 3 mobs left. We had a patrol coming in, and we're going to fall back a little bit here, and then we can finish off this Evoker pretty easily probably, hopefully. And then we can fight this Overseer or the Taskmaster. Looks like we're fighting the Overseer here. And I have a little bit of mana for a couple of Frostbolts. Go ahead and just melee them down, and then I can finish off the last Taskmaster. And we can throw some Frostbolts towards use them. And then almost dead, and we can go ahead and loot and try to heal our mana really quickly. So this is a really cool set that you can't really see because it's pants, but it is like an example. Oh, I won it. It is an example of an armor set in the game. So if you have different pieces of this Black and Defiance armor set, you will gain set bonuses depending on how much you have. So if we have two, so if you have like the armor and the leggings, so we have one of them, we would get an additional 10 armor. But since we only have one, we wouldn't get any of them. But if we had like all 5, we would get the armor, this arcane resistance, increased dagger skill, and then increased attack power, which is awesome. But they are medium, so this is like really good for rogues. I think this is like primarily for rogues, but I think like hunters and like druids could use it as well, but it's not as good for them as it is for the rogues. So we have some strip miners here that we can just take care of. 66% of the way through. So here we are entering the next area of Deadmines. We have the Goblin Foundry here. So I'm just going to take a moment to restore my mana a little bit, but we can kind of see here is there is a forge here, or a foundry I guess, in the Deadmines. So we mentioned earlier maybe there's a spot where the miners are taking ore to like smelt down. Here is that spot. So here we have a bunch of goblin craftsmen around, and they are just working here to kind of smelt all the ore into whatever they need it for. I don't know what the technical term is. Ingots that they can then use to turn into whatever construction that they need. Let's go ahead and fight these craftsmen. So I believe these craftsmen have a chance to spawn like a small harvester golem. So this might be the spot where all the harvester golems in Westfall are kind of coming out to. I'm going to go ahead and delete this Deland Sharp, and I might need to clear up my inventory a little bit here. Just delete this heavy stone, and then I have a few slots here. Haunch of meat, can delete that. Let's go ahead and use this oil of Olaf. I might delete the last one if we end up needing the space. I could also delete this health stone probably. So go ahead and throw or kill that one, and we keep fighting these craftsmen. None of them have spawned harvester golems. Maybe that's on the newer version of the game that they spawn, or maybe it's bugged right now. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, this is a really cool area, and I like it a lot. And I just like how many like special, unique areas there are in the Deadmines, because you can. The entirety of the Deadmines is kind of like one long cave. But like every now and then throughout the cave, so we've seen like this is the 3rd area we've gotten to now. There's like a very special and unique like spot that is very different than the previous areas, or like the general part of the dungeon as a whole. So here's a remote control golem. So there's an example of the harvester golem that I was talking about earlier. Let's go ahead and deal with this engineer. And we have the golem we can deal with as well, and I'm going to want to... Oh, so it's the engineers, I think, that spawn them, not the craftsmen. So we just need to be a little bit careful of them. There are a ton of golems down here, and I believe if you are like a miner, you can use this area to actually smelt some of the ore that you gather, which is pretty cool. There might be like a anvil somewhere, I'm not entirely sure. Go ahead and deal with that engineer. Golems here. Finish the golems off, and then hopefully I'll have a moment to start drinking water before the next fight starts. But it looks like kind of going in right now, which is okay. Moving over here into this corner to fight this craftsman. Oh, I followed the druid. I should stay back. I'm just gonna stay back a little bit ways, and I'll cast some frost bolts onto this golem. And there are ton of goblins here, so hopefully I have enough mana to deal with this encounter, but looks like I'm not going to, so that's not great. Gonna ahead and just keep fighting these golems, and then I am going to just save up some mana so that I can attack any of the goblins that start to run away. So I'm just going to melee this craftsman here, and then I'm going to switch this engineer. I'm going to cast frostbolts at it, and then I'm going to save up just a little bit of mana here so I can start attacking this craftsman when it's low on health as it runs away, and I can just slow on it with my frostbolt. And let's go ahead and just continue fighting this craftsman here. I can go ahead and just melee it down a little bit. I am taking quite a bit of damage here from the melt ore. I'll go ahead and cast some frostbolts on it, and it is dead, and we dealt with that encounter with relative ease. Let's go ahead, drink some water, restore our mana, and we can push forward. We have another big group here. We can go ahead and just DPS down and fight. So we have this goblin engineer that's almost dead and it's attacking me. I attacked it too much. I'm going ahead and just full send, and I'm just going to deal a ton of damage to it so it can die. And I will finish off with Fire Blast. A little bit left, so that's a little bit of an embarrassment on my part. My bad there. I'm going to go ahead and pass this Tiger's Eye because I'm running out of space in my inventory. Go ahead and keep dealing damage to this goblin engineer, and I have run out of mana. There's a couple of golems here on the ground that we can go ahead and just keep fighting. And I see my experience bar, we're getting really close to level 19, which is super exciting. Go ahead and, oh, they all died, so I'm going to take this moment to try to drink some water before we fight the next one. Looks like there's just 2 craftsmen and engineers, so we won't have to deal with the harvest golem, or too many more harvest golems. The harvest golems are probably like my least favorite part of this room. But we are going through this pretty easily. We have a really good group now, and there is no toxicity like what was coming out of our priest and one of our DPS from earlier in the episode, so that makes me much happier. So we are almost done with this room, and then once we get near the end of the room, we can see the final boss that is in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that craftsman, and I'm just going to check my inventory real quick, and I'm going to throw some items up here that I want to save onto for now. And go ahead and cast crossbows. And let's go ahead and organize this a little bit. And I'll do that, and then I will try to drink some water real quick. Go ahead and just start drinking, and I'll just restore up to full mana. I can combine this stack. Oh, not do that. I can combine this stack here. And then I think if I delete anything needed, I'll just delete this mask next, probably. Okay, so I'm going to just take this moment to drink a little bit while we prepare to pull in this next fight. And here we can see the next boss in the dungeon, level 20, is Gilned the Smelter. So this is the goblin boss here and the goblin foundry, and we are going to deal with him, and he has a goblin craftsman there that we are also going to deal with as well. So I'm not sure which one we're going to fight first. Probably the craftsman if I were to guess. So I'm going to go ahead and just cast some frostbolts. I'll go ahead and cast a fireball on Gilned, and I will just continue dealing damage to the craftsman. I think I'm at 75%, so I'm 3/4 of the way to level 19. So I think I'm going to level up while inside the dungeon, and then I'm going to gain a significant amount of experience as we return to Sentinel Hill and go over to Stormwind to turn in some of our quests. But here we just have Gilned at half health, so we can see if he drops anything good. I'm hoping I get a ranged weapon, a wand, from this dungeon, because I definitely really need one. That is an item that I am definitely going to roll for. Oh, this is good. It's pretty good. I'll go ahead and just greed on it though, because I should probably be needing on items, but I always feel bad needing. So this video has been going on for a long time, so I decided kind of after recording everything that I'm going to split this video up into two parts, and this is the first time I have done this in my Let's Play series. So we just watched part 1 of Deadmines, and next week when I release part 2 you can watch the rest of the Deadmines. I kind of just wanted the videos to be more digestible and like not be a super like 1.5 to 2 hour long video, so here I am splitting it up. I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode of my World of Warcraft series. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves, drinking some water, checking your posture. If you feel like it, go ahead and subscribe to me down below. I am really trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support means a lot to me. You can also comment and like, and have a good day. Goodbye everyone.